can't wait to hear everything about this damn bar restaurant or whatever you call it. Do they serve food?
No.
Okay.
No.
Even better.
Even if they did, I would have been like, no, we're not going to do that.
You can't eat here.
No. Yeah. So this past weekend I was in Reno, Nevada, working, and my buddy flew us out. He flew out my buddy Todd and I, to do some coaching and judge a showcase. But, we had some time and we're like, what are we going to do while we're waiting, for Mario to get back in town? And so Todd and I did some research. We're like, we like going to Irish pubs, and we're like, that's cool. So we just Googled Irish pubs in Reno, and in the Google listing was Filthy McNasties, among other ones. And I don't know, we had to go to it.
I know the name in itself is just, how could you not go?
Yeah. So Mario finally picks us up and he's like, where do you guys want to go? And I'm like, we want to go to Filthy McNasties. He's like, well, where is that? I never even heard of it. I lived in Reno for over 20 years. And I was like, it's on this road. I don't remember what road it's on. He's like, we don't want to go there. And I'm like, why? He's like, well, it's in the rougher part of town. I'm like, dude, even better. Like, how bad could it be? Just use your imagination when you hear about Filthy McNasties. It was that.
Spoken like a true tourist. It's the most dangerous fucking place.
So we go walking up there and rolling in, and there's like 5 or 6 people in there, and that's it. Bartender, 2 girls, and 2 guys. So
in the whole place,
it was empty. It was pretty much empty. It was littered with all sorts of like posters and framed work, and the liquor bottles. The top shelf liquor bottle was, I think, Crown. Like it was. And so we sit down, the bartender comes right over, and he was a great bartender. He's very attentive, but he was definitely on something, super high. And then we're just like hanging out, waiting for our drinks. We're like wondering, oh man, are these drinks even going to be like clean and like nasty? Like, you know, you ever go to, when you go to a bar and you're just like, do they clean?
Yeah.
They clean the
100%.
taps or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, there's a girl in a pink running suit. And come to find out, she's a high paid escort.
Yes.
And then there's a guy tweaking in the corner, rocking back and forth, facing the wall. And then we're pretty sure the other girl that was in there was probably her manager, the escorts manager. And
please tell me you jotted down the address for anybody who wants. We'll put it in the comments.
So if you go visit Reno, Filthy McNasties, go check it out.
You know you're a high class hooker when you wear a jumpsuit. I mean, what else would you wear?
Exactly.
Welcome to the Alpha Geek Podcast, where we embrace our geekdom and other things and respect everyone else's. Please like and subscribe. Those clicks, a little bit to you, a lot to us. Keep the show going, and we're having a blast doing it. We are your host. I'm Antoine Britt. This is Taras Denisenko, who just came from evidently some sort of sketchy spot.
Yep.
In Reno.
Yeah.
Reno, man. Reno's fun though.
Reno is fun. It's a cool city. Like, it's definitely developed, and probably people think there was like the what is it? It's like the Little Vegas or whatever, all those casinos.
Yeah. It's a bunch of like mob stories, how mobsters move from wherever, Chicago, New York, and go there because it's kind of like secluded.
Yeah.
As far as like a fun place can be and still be secluded, I guess that would be Reno. It's kind of in the mountains. There's stories that John Gotti has, like there's in Lake Tahoe, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of like old cars, like mobster cars in the bottom of that lake. I don't know how true it is.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
That they just go and destroy the evidence type thing.
Yeah. Like I tell you, man, Lake Tahoe, beautiful.
Oh yes,
you've been
gorgeous. Yeah. For a wedding a couple years ago. Main man, I went to the main man's wedding a couple years ago, and we had a blast. Had a blast. Yeah, it's fun. Do it.
Cool. Well, we got a lot of stuff to cover today. There's, as usual, a lot of Disney drama.
Yes.
When it comes to Bob Iger, we're going to talk about that.
Yes, a lot of people making waves that don't need to make waves. One of those people are Leslye Headland.
Yeah.
She's the director, the runner for the Acolyte movie that's coming out, and we're just wondering, is she gonna bring a hit, or is she gonna just push George Lucas' vision just further and further away? Well, it's yet to be seen.
That one, I cannot wait till we get into that, because what she said,
yeah, that's a rough one, man.
Yeah.
There's no coming back.
And definitely want to cover a little bit of the change up in the staffing of Disney. Sean Bailey just got canned, and we'll talk a little bit about that and why that happened.
Why it happened.
Yeah.
And a little bit on the funner side, we got spoiler free, especially. So, spoiler free review on Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix, how it did, what we thought of it, what I thought of it. You didn't finish it yet.
Not yet. Even started yet. Yep.
What I thought of it. And I'll do my best to make it spoiler free. I hate doing spoiler free reviews because it's so hard to give the audience like a realistic view of the show or the movie without spoiling like some small aspect of it. But I try my best.
Yeah. Hey, I do want to say one thing though on my trip, and this is probably old news, but I did see. Oh my God, what was that racing movie? I just literally, it was based on a video game. Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
Freaking good movie.
Awesome movie. Yeah, really good, man. The actor, I could forget the actor's name, who is the lead in that. He was also in Saltburn. He's a friend of the main character in Saltburn. He's just a very versatile actor. He's awesome. So.
Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, the whole thing.
Do you believe that could be? And I know when you put movies like this that are based on true stories, or do you believe that someone who came from that world, like a totally virtual racing world, could cross over and actually be successful in that thing?
Well, with Gran Turismo, I don't know. I think so, because I tried to play it once. It was so damn hard because it's so accurate.
Yeah,
I would imagine he had the natural skill set already built into his body, just based on the movie. I mean, it's like some people just got it, but I don't know. I could see why the race world was like, man,
hell no,
hell no,
yeah, because when you get behind that car and that thing like slaps, even in my truck, if I punch it, I'm back in the seat a little bit, so I can imagine like the G's those things generate, man. I think it'd be hard to cross over as soon as you get in the,
Yeah.
And plus, at the end of the day, you are in your room with, you're not confined to a box, like a race, like a cockpit of a car. It's a box, basically. And just that would cause anxiety.
Yeah. They do. I mean, they are using that kind of technology to develop, for fighter pilots and airline pilots. So I suppose there's a huge learning curve to probably be able to do that stuff, like understanding like the turns and the corners, and so I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I know, like drones, like they're using a lot of those drones, like some of the warfare that we have right now. Some of those people are somewhere here, in Virginia, and just controlling the drone.
And they're probably dudes that just played video games when they were younger.
Yeah. Hey, man, we used to tell my mom, get off that video game.
Yeah.
Now, now she wish she would have told me to stay on it.
Yeah.
I might be more successful. Who knows?
On a side note, just based on technology, we were at a competition in Texas a few weeks ago, and some dude, did you see Apple came out with their whatever the Apple headset thing?
Yeah.
Some dude was walking around the ballroom wearing that thing. I was like, bro, he wasn't on the competition floor, but I'm like, what are you doing?
Dude, but how cool is that though? It's like your phone is like, it's like Tony Stark, like he's in the Iron Man. You know how we see Tony Stark inside the Iron Man suit. It has all the little icons on the screen that's supposed to be in the helmet. That's cool as shit though. So you can still see everything that's happening outside of this headset, but you have access to everything from your phone basically inside the headset, right? That's great. That's dope. I'm sorry.
Pretty soon the whole Neuralink thing is going to be somebody actually is using that now too, just to move a mouse or whatever around. Did you see that? Really? Somebody actually got the implant and all they can do is, I think, just move a mouse around on the screen, and that's it.
That's nuts, dude. Now here's my question with that. with the Neuralink thing. You know how when you get a new phone and you have all of these, you have to agree to all this stuff. Like by using this phone, Apple owns any content that you put on it, blah, 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 blah. Is that if you get this Neuralink thing and you're essentially like a big walk-in phone?
Yeah.
Is that the case? Does, Apple own some part of, or do they have the rights to some part of your, your brain?
Dude, that's crazy thinking.
Yeah.
Like, what if they do?
Yeah.
Like, and you don't read the terms of service.
Who reads that shit? No one reads that shit. First of all, they don't want you to read it because they make it 99,000 pages.
Yeah.
But no one does read it because you're gonna no matter what, you're gonna use the phone.
Yeah.
You're gonna take the updates. You're gonna do all that. So
yeah.
I feel like I guess most people feel like it's a moot point.
Yeah. There was a I think in Congress right now they're doing testimony on this might be old, but on Twitter, and how the FBI used Twitter's own terms of service to get into their system or whatever. Like, it was the weirdest thing. I'm not versed enough to be able to know, like, really explain it, but it was so crazy, that whole terms of service thing. Y'all better read that. You better read it. You better know what you get into.
Nobody's gonna read it. They're even gonna watch this episode and say, you know what, they're right. We need to read it, and they're still not gonna read that shit. Oh, crazy. Man, it's just too much, man.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Leslye Headland.
Oh.
All right, if you don't know who Leslye is, she is a director. She was hired by Kathleen Kennedy to direct and run the Acolyte movie.
Yep.
Now we're a couple years away from this before we even see anything, but it's a female lead, is a predominantly female cast, and and she makes no qualms about the audience that she wants to try to attract.
Yep.
With the movie, she wants to kind of move away from what she views as a more toxic, masculine fan base, and bring a more female fan base and more new female fans into the franchise. But she also went on to say, which is all fine and good, like the more fans, the more money. I get it, dollars make sense. But she also went on to say that she doesn't view any of the Star Wars prequels as classics because she doesn't feel that George Lucas was a good enough movie maker or filmmaker for these movies to be justified as classics.
And she doesn't stop. She doesn't stop. Mike Zero, YouTuber, if you all follow like Disney stuff, Mike Zero is a guy to follow. He reads the whole transcript of what she says. And with his very monotone voice, I got mad. I got mad.
Yeah.
She was totally slamming him.
So how do you slam George Lucas?
I don't know.
Just even if you personally don't think he's a great filmmaker, just what he's done.
Yeah.
What he's done. That's like saying Michael Jordan's a shitty basketball player.
Oh my God. Great example.
Yeah. It's like even if you're a Lakers fan, you hate Michael Jordan, you can't.
Yep.
Discount what he's done for the game of basketball.
Yep. I just don't get
nuts.
it. It's like, how do you get involved with a movie franchise and you hate the creator? Like, you literally, like, George, this is his child. It's literally his child.
Yeah.
And you hate that child, and you're going to do whatever you can to make it what you think it should be.
Yeah,
but still, I just don't. Oh.
I mean, and also it's ridiculous to compare apples because that's what you're doing, comparing apples and oranges. You're comparing a time where you had to do the majority of effects practically instead of CG. You didn't have that back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. You had to do everything with practical, and then we don't have the resources or the money that we have to put it. $5 million into marketing. Mm-hmm. They didn't have that back in the day. And so you had to, play with the cards you were dealt. And that's what Lucas made the best possible thing that you could have made with the resources that he had available. And then you have this young buck coming down 50, 60 years later.
Man.
And telling you that what you did, your heart and soul, like you said, your child, it ain't shit.
Yeah. I got on a personal note, like just a kind of like, this is a comparison. We had a teacher we sponsored to come here, and he since went back to his home country. And Wendy and I are former champions. Like, we are tested and tried, and we achieved a certain status. And this boy,
here we go.
He had the audacity.
I know where this is going.
He had the audacity to challenge us and our knowledge and our credentials and be like, oh man, what you do, it's old fashioned. You don't know what you're talking about anymore.
Yeah. Oh,
you know why you ain't in this business anymore.
It's crazy, man. I feel like that's kind of a sign of the time that you're in. It's like everybody thinks they can come and improve on what, they think they can recreate the will. Like, I mean, over and over and over again. But it goes to show that sometimes for what you have or what you feel like you have in talent, the person that was willing to put the work in, you built this, George Lucas built this from nothing. Yeah. You're going behind him and taking IP that already exists and saying, okay, I'm gonna tweak it here, tweak it there, but I'm gonna make it better. You can't make something better that you didn't create. Yeah. You don't have a dog in the fight. If you get fired right now, Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy is gonna find someone else to replace you. Yeah. And they're going to go down the same road. I'm going to make this thing the greatest thing I've ever seen. I'm going to put my stamp on it. You're not. The best that you can hope for is that you can come and do the franchise justice by making something that the fans are actually going to like. Yep. But they want to just change and just chuck it in the trash. Dude, it's crazy.
And why does Leslye Headland think that she could possibly do any better? What has she actually produced that is of great success?
I don't even know what's on her resume.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know. And at this point, I don't even care to know.
Yeah, dude. It's I was thinking about this on the way over here. I think a big problem that the studios are having as it's crossing over to the content that they're giving the fans is that they keep talking about it. Remember when back in our day, when a movie came out, you saw a preview for it. And that was the first that you knew about this movie. Like, oh shit, they're making a new Terminator. Yeah. Or you knew that Arnold Schwarzenegger was making a new Terminator. You heard nothing else about it until you saw the trailer for the Terminator. And then the opening day, and you went to see it. Boom. Yeah. You had no knowledge about the inner workings of this movie, who was being cast, who was directing it, blah, blah, blah. But people, when they came out and those facts became important, people knew. Michael Bay's going to direct that. Martin Scorsese is going to direct this. Blah, blah, blah is producing this. Because you care, because the movie made you care. It was a good enough movie, you loved it enough that it made you go down this rabbit hole and research everything around it. Now we, as a fan, we have so much information about what's coming. You're giving us the opportunity to judge these films before they even come out, or these projects before they even come out. Yep. I would rather not see it. Yeah. I don't want to know, I don't want spoilers, I don't want teasers, I don't want any of that. I want to know Deadpool Wolverine's coming out. Give me the day. I'll be there. Yeah. That's all I want to know.
Yeah. That's a really great point, because even when I had nothing else to do in an airplane, Marvel's was an option to watch. And knowing all the stuff that's behind the scenes, I was like, immediately, as soon as there was something, I was like, yep, there it is. Yeah. There's what they're trying to push. I turn it off. And if I didn't know any of that, maybe I would have enjoyed it. I don't know.
Yeah. Don't get if you're complaining about the fan base, don't give them the opportunity to be quote unquote toxic. Yes. Just let them because if you put out a Star Wars film, let me say, okay, The Acolyte in theaters, December 21st, whatever. If you put it out, people are going to go see it. Yep. And whether they like it or not, they're going to go see it. And then they're going to base their opinion on the actual movie, not because you said some dumb shit about George Lucas or Kathleen Kennedy said some shit about cutting the budget or whatever. Yep. They're not judging, because when you go into a movie knowing these things, now you're already jaded. You're already going in with you going in with a D. Yep. And it's up to you to get an A out of this movie. And they haven't, unfortunately, haven't putting out good enough content to get that A. Yep. So.
Yep. Yeah, how can and just going back to how they say the toxic fan base, you're creating the toxic fan base.
100%.
At this point, it's all on her. You're bashing everybody. You're bashing the people that made this franchise what it is, supported the franchise through and through with buying Lego sets, putting it together.
I know.
Like, you know, you're what is that? You're don't shit where you eat.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, no. Like I said, I prefer having just a blind, like one trailer is enough for me. Give me a little bit of, anticipation for it. Okay, now let's go see the movie. But it's again, and the problem is I don't think that is going to be good.
Yeah.
And now I don't think it's going to be good, because now you're telling me all these things that you want to change and you want to make different. Like she said, it's going to be a cross. The Acolyte is going to be a cross between Star Wars, The Matrix, and Kill Bill.
Oh my God.
I know, right? Yeah. Like, what does that look like? What does that look like? So now I'm going in already skeptical already. So
wow. Like Kill Bill, like what? Like,
I don't know.
That was the most random. Like,
dude, I don't know.
What was that preview that you sent over? You sent me a preview for a movie coming up. It was like a fighting movie where he's like deaf and.
Oh yeah, what was that movie called?
It looks so good.
That movie looks good because who's directed? Is it a Guy Ritchie movie? Man, what was that? It looked awesome though, but just like something different.
Yep. And
with the subject matter, I think it's like almost like a post-apocalyptic. And the actor who,
it's Hemsworth, right? It's Chris Hemsworth's little brother.
Yeah.
No.
It's not Liam Hemsworth.
It's from True Blood, his brother. Let me pull it up here.
Man, yeah, pull that up. And I mean, I guess my biggest question is what do you think that is the Acolyte gonna be worth like going to see, or is it just gonna just turn the fans off more?
I hope that it's gonna be something where the first 5 minutes I watch it, that I'll want to still watch it.
Keep watching. Yeah, sure.
Just like the Marvels, it was the first 5 minutes. It was I should say it was more 15 minutes. 15 minutes into it, even Wendy, she was sitting next to me at the time. She couldn't hear it, and she's like, "It looked so bad." To her, even looked so bad. But it was Bill Skarsgård.
Oh, Skarsgård. Yeah. He's what's the name of the movie?
It is called Boy Kills World.
Yeah, dude. If you haven't seen that, I think I picked it up on Comic Book Nation's Instagram page. It looks awesome.
It looks so.
Looks so cool. It's like almost like a mix between Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Is it Scott Pilgrim Saves the World? And Kill Bill.
Yeah, that was
right.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then it had like an idea, like also like the self-narrating. He's like, I picked a voice from the last video game I played.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool as shit.
So funny.
That's cool as shit. Yeah, because he's deaf and blind. No, I mean deaf and dumb. Yeah, so he has to like he doesn't have a voice, never had a voice, so he picks up the voice of a video game that he used to. But then also, how do you know what the video game sounds like?
Yeah.
If you're deaf.
Well, I think he became deaf and dumb because of, according to the preview, everything that happened.
Okay.
So it's the trauma of seeing, I think in the preview, there's no spoilers, but in the preview it shows that his family was killed. And so the last thing he remembers is that video game.
Yeah.
And so that's where the voice is.
It looks sick.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Good stuff.
Man.
But I want to segue into some Bob Iger stuff, since moving off of Leslye Headland. So latest news with Bob Iger is this whole stock sell-off thing. And this was stock that he was selling off last year, and people were losing their minds. Like, what's happening with Disney? He's going to be replaced. He's no longer going to be the president. So people were all excited about it, speculating that he's out. And I didn't write the guy's name, but there was supposed to be a new guy coming in. Okay. And a couple finance guys were kind of tracking that and being like, well, that's not really accurate, because most, and what did you say? He gets compensated by,
performance
of
the, yeah.
Yep. So he gets stock options, and he's just selling them off because that's just how he made money. So just wanted to kind of jump in on that one.
I mean, I guess like from a finance standpoint, why do you sell off your stock? Like what is the, other than the monetary benefit, what is the benefit of selling off your stock?
Based on how he gets compensated, before it turns into personal income, you sell it off. So you would pay less on taxes or whatever. Okay. Well, so it was because then it would have been like, what's that word? What's that term? Anyway, so whenever it becomes, you take the cash and then you have to pay taxes on it.
Okay. So once it's liquid, you gotta you have to pay taxes on it, or that's your tax liability on that money.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Sound like shit that rich guys do.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's like, and this guy that I was listening to, that's what he does. He manages CEOs' stock options. And so that's just common practice. So I don't know if that's accurate what it is, because he said there's 4 different things you can happen. Either inside information that you're going to dump it, or something personal happened, or you needed it for something, or what he thinks it is that it's now going to go under income. And so he just wanted to dump it. And I guess that's how he bought a couple of his yachts. And, I tell you, man, you're Bob Iger. Nobody likes him.
A couple of his yachts.
Seriously.
Dude, that's nuts. That's funny. But, I mean, as far as that's concerned, I mean, do you think he has any inside information about what Disney stock is going to do within the next quarter?
100%.
Hell yeah, he does.
I mean, the whole Elon Musk thing and the lawsuits, and there's several now. It's not just the Gina Carano. It's several.
There's more?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, man, Gina, take him to the cleaners, baby. Yeah. Like, take him to the cleaners. Gina, I met Gina a couple times. She's cool, super cool chick. And
yeah, because everyone says that she's like the nicest person in the
super whole, cool, super sweet. Yeah. Even, and we, like I was telling to Ross off air, our gym was an affiliate of the gym that she used to train back when she was doing Muay Thai and MMA. So we had the opportunity to meet and go, and of course, and we were both with Strike Force at one time as well. So we had the opportunity to meet a couple of times, and while I didn't have any like prolonged conversation with her, she seems like a super sweet lady. So
yeah, I'm just looking up her dad, because I remember I mentioned to you that her dad, I thought, was a football player.
Yeah, you say her dad was a quarterback, an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, his name, Glenn Carano, former professional football player.
Look at Taraz.
Yeah.
It's funny the shit he forgets. Yeah. And then the stuff he remembers.
Dude. Well, like, I remember because when she first started fighting, I was like, wow, she's pretty. Like, why is she going to get her face beat in? And then I think it was just special on her, and she was talking about she grew up as her dad was a football player, and I just remember that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The stuff I forget.
He's like, what's that thing called? You eat it. You mean the pizza? Yeah, that's it. But he remembers what Gina Carano dad did.
I know. So if there's any sponsors that want to sponsor our YouTube channel for nootropics, I'll try some stuff.
Oh yeah, Joe, where the alpha brain at, Joe?
But yeah.
Man. But with that lawsuit, I feel like, and I don't know if you remember why she was fired, but she went on some political rant on Twitter and on social media, whatever. And I don't remember exactly what it said, but I remember hearing that she got fired because of it. And I was like, that shit wasn't that bad.
No.
Like, yeah, what was that? So,
well, they took a small portion of what she said when she talked about Nazis. Just took that one section. If you took it out of context, of course it sounds horrible, but you read the whole thing and you're like, okay, I could see why she was using that as an example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gina.
I don't know.
Elon's behind her, dude. That dude's batting 1,000. Yeah. So.
And his team is now reaching out to, because it's not just Gina that got let go. There's also other people, support people, like whether they were camera guys or I don't know, just random other things. But she was the highest profile one that got let go in such a terrible way.
Yeah.
Via Twitter. She got fired via Twitter.
And when is Jonathan Majors going to be on that lawsuit?
Oh, man.
What do we got on it?
Do you hear that? Like, I think somebody said that Disney or Marvel doesn't have a direction now, and they're scrambling because of the Jonathan Majors thing.
Yeah, well, they're going to do away with the Kang. Well, I'm sorry. I take that back. they are going to slowly transition away from the Kang thing. The goal is to like start to set up Doctor Doom, but there are some reports that Denzel Washington's kid is going to replace him. Oh. So maybe it's going to be one of those things where you're going to replace him for a little, just so the transition doesn't seem so awkward, and you have like a Kang, but also. Yeah, just don't do it. Just get rid of it. You're in I think you are in a situation to where you can do that the way that Loki ended, and that whole Victor Timely character, Kang character ended. That you can really just stop and be good, and go on. But Doctor Doom, I mean, that's a 2 to 3 year setup, just to set up that, and then if you're gonna make a Doctor Doom movie where he's like the main villain, that's another year and a half, 2 years to make that project. So if you're gonna do Doom, it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while. So
well, it seems like they're trying to change everything anyway. So what's the big deal? You're trying to get rid of Skywalker and all that stuff. But Deadpool could just rewrite everything.
Yeah,
like, isn't that the whole?
That's the hope, and that's what we think's gonna happen. Is gonna really just reboot everything and then bring the Fox, the X-Men over to the MCU. So I hope that's what happens, because then it's like clean slate. It's clean slate. You can start having these billion-dollar box offices again, because everything's like, we already know we're getting Thunderbolts. We already know we're getting Avengers 5 in some capacity. It's just not called Kang Dynasty anymore. And we know we're getting Secret Wars. So it just, comes down to who's the villain in those. I mean, and again, it's all written down. Like,
Is it because like they're changing the budgets, they're repositioning where they want whether it's streaming, whether it's film, because it seems like they're getting away further and further from film, and now they're going into their streaming service. So even those things are all set up to be coming out. Will they actually be coming out? Because the other thing is, Bob Iger came out and said, like, we just purchased something for $8 billion, whether that was the software company. But he's not coming out and saying what they're going to do with it. He's like, we did this thing, but we don't know when it's going to happen, and we don't quite know how it's going to happen, but we spent this money on this thing. I'm like, well, what is that thing?
What is the thing? But I also, keep it close to the cup. Like, again, stop telling us what you're doing, dude. Like, we don't care. Those are conversations for the board and the stockholders. Like, if we should like stop telling us, because all you're doing is like setting yourself up for scrutiny. That's all you're doing. Like, we don't care. We don't care. Just stop telling us shit.
Speaking of the board, Nelson Peltz, he's going after it, because I think the vote is up in a couple of days to be who's going to be on the board, and Nelson Peltz is still going for it. And then somebody on, I don't know if it's CNBC or one of the news stations that's a finance guy, Jim Cramer, I think, I think was like, Iger's got to go. And here's a guy that was probably 100% in support of Iger, and now is like, he's got to go.
Really? Do you think that Iger's kind of reading the writing on the wall? Because, with the whole, the cost containment, like everything, every project, they're slashing almost in half of the cost of all these projects. Do you think that, he's kind of, okay, I really need the, buckle down and, save Disney money? When you're going from spending $400 million on a project to, a little bit over $200 million, almost cutting it in half, there's something up. And you must have known, well, maybe I take that back. I'm not going to say that. I was going to say you must have known that you can do these projects for cheaper, but that might not be the case. But you do know that you're going to start doing these projects for cheaper. And now, how do the projects suffer because of that is the question. We know CG is expensive. Marketing is expensive. Of course, no actor is doing shit for free. So,
nope. It just seems like all their projects, whether it's a park project, film project, streaming project, they all have just no good timelines and no good clear plans of how they're going to execute things. So I don't know. Iger just seems, is it flailing to the point where he's just like, I'm going to start throwing stuff to see if we can just get some stocks, like get our stocks going up or try to get some hype and like, I don't know.
But also, like you went from having 5 projects in 2024 to 1, but and you're going to continue to push these projects back. Like they say, they don't ever shelf any projects. They just get postponed.
Yes.
So what does that mean for all these projects? Do they just get pushed back to 2025? Does everything in 2025 get pushed back to 26, 27? Like what's gonna happen with that?
Well, Kathleen Kennedy said she'll never shelf a project, but here she is saying that we're shelving all this stuff. You'll never see the Deadpool, some of the Deadpool stuff. Like,
yeah.
I mean, how do you sit there? I don't know.
Director's cut.
Yeah.
Levy cut.
Yeah.
Was that Levy cut?
But she's so spiteful and like coming out and saying like that you'll never see the stuff. Oh man, I don't even know. Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
come on, save us, save us, Obi-Wan.
But he's like, fuck you guys, for real. He's like, I'm gonna do this movie and I'm gonna take my ball and because Ryan Reynolds he's gonna make money at other studios. Like he has a relationship with the majority of these studios to where he can basically go anywhere with any script and
100%
and make it. Do you think that now that Disney is kind of really doubling down on the whole cost containment, do you think there's going to be a trend in Hollywood now? Do you think that every studio, filmmaker, director, producer is going to try to find ways to bring down the cost of all these projects? Everything.
Yeah. It seems like that Hollywood is on a downward trend.
Yeah.
They're probably going to try to figure out how they can cut all sorts of stuff. And I don't know if it's because of all the AI stuff that's coming out and I don't know, but I do agree. I think everyone's going to start cutting.
Yeah. I mean, where do you cut?
Yeah.
Where do you, what has to be sacrificed? Because we see what you put out when you have, $300-400 million. We see what you can put out.
Yeah.
All right, and so now you're telling the audience that we need this amount of money to make this, right? What happens when you take away $150 million from that? Can you still make a good movie? And if you can make as good of a movie, why haven't you been doing that?
Yeah.
Why is it taking, $400 million to make these projects? So
yeah,
I'll be interested to see what happens.
Yeah. They could probably start cutting the budget with the catering.
Hell yeah.
The catering's $50 million.
I don't know, man.
they need the food.
I need my Sbarro.
But our business, if we got to cut expenses, who's the first person that's not going to get paid?
Yep.
The owners.
The owners. Yeah.
You don't collect that money. You don't make that money. Yep. So
as it should be.
Figure it out.
As it should be. But I don't know. I don't think they know what credit is. They know what debit means.
Yeah.
They don't know what refund means, and they don't know what credit means.
Nope. And maybe like the Sean, because the other thing we want to touch base on quick was the Sean Bailey. That Sean Bailey bails on Disney. So was that a cost cutting thing? Was that or he's just like, it's a sinking ship, I'm out? I don't know.
Oh, man,
that's a thing.
I don't know. And also, like, I go back to our podcast a couple of weeks ago about, is this lawsuit, is this Elon Musk lawsuit a way to kind of, depower Disney to fight, cripple them to fight back? We've seen it happen before. You just sue a company into obscurity. And while we all view Disney as this huge powerhouse and this financial just like juggernaut, that is this? I mean, if it's possible. Yeah. If anyone can do it, it's Elon.
Yeah, that's true. I can't even imagine, like, we're in a Navy town here in Virginia Beach, and I always think about the Navy as like a huge business. How do you manage something that gigantic? I don't even understand. Like, Disney has got to have massive overhead with everything that they have. Dude. How do you? I mean, I don't know even how they make money.
Yeah, like, I mean, just quantity. You got so many people. I have a friend who's leaving on Sunday for a Disney cruise, and she was telling me everything that goes along with this Disney. They have like their own island. They stop you at this island, and you can go and play and drop the kids off at a Disney play place or whatever, and go have like. this is a huge animal, but you remember this animal has been being built since 42 or some shit like that, 1938. Yeah. So, they've been building this animal for forever.
Shouldn't know that. I need to look that up.
It's somewhere around there.
When did Disney start? But yeah, I mean, you figure like they have all these properties, all the staff, just all this stuff, man. It's just all this money going in, and where does it go, and how do you manage it? I don't know. I know this is not really like geek stuff, but maybe it is geek stuff.
Yeah, well, you gotta know what's going on. You can't just look at the shiny bells and whistles. You gotta know what's going on behind. But again, going back to what I said earlier, do we have to know?
Yes.
Is it? Yeah. I think, me personally, I think it's better for the fans if we don't know.
Yep.
And we have no idea what's going. Like, we don't need to know what's the red tape. We don't need to know what's going on in the front office. You're making a movie. All right, sweet. I want to watch it. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
I think it's way better like that. But we live in a society and a time that information is king. So the more information, and it was working in the benefit of Disney back when they were making good shit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, Robert Downey Jr. is doing this. Or whoever's doing that. Now you're making bad shit and you're still doing it, and people are like, instead of getting great feedback, you're getting like shitty feedback.
Yeah.
So
I remember like on Netflix, like this movie goes to like, what is it? I think Wendy just watched some movie that was super popular globally. Nobody knows anything about it, but people just like it. And like you just said, the less you know, you just get to appreciate the movie and not worry about the baggage behind it.
Yes. Yeah, Netflix has made a business out of Squid Game, Avatar, One Piece, everything they like, Love is Blind, like everything they're putting out. But also, Law of Averages says with all the content that you put out, that you're going to have a home run at some point. For every project that every other streaming service put out, Netflix put out 10. So with that quantity, Law of Averages says you're gonna have some bangers in there.
But knowing sometimes is of benefit, because when J.J. Abrams got announced to be one of the directors of Star Wars, now I don't know if there's Star Trek fans out there, but when J.J. Abrams took on Star Trek, freaking loved it. He did an amazing job with it. And my buddies, Todd and Mario, they were both like dogging on me, being like, "You Star Trek sucks." I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Star Trek doesn't suck, dude. No. Star Trek is awesome, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know like the Trekkies are a lot nicer than I feel like Star Wars. Yeah. The fandom.
Yeah.
I think they look at themselves as almost like the little brother of Star Wars, or geekdom, outer space geekdom, I guess you would call it. So
yeah, it is definitely a different beast. Like, even though it's a take on space and all that, but man, Star Trek is more, what would you say? It's more of not an intellectual, but is it, maybe it's more of an intellectual thing?
I don't know, man. I think really all that shit's the same.
Yeah.
I mean, it's outer space, but Star Trek. I used to love Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Love that show. Data and Geordi LaForge and Lieutenant Worf. Yeah. Dude, they were awesome, man.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, that's a robot. He's an android.
Yeah. Did you like Deanna Troi?
Yeah.
The counselor?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, with the big hair? Yes. Yes. Yeah, she's that bodysuit was no joke.
Right? Or 7 of 9 when she first came out. 7 of 9, she was the Borg. She had the blonde hair, and she was...
Oh, yeah, had the one little thing on the eye. Yeah, I wasn't that into her. But, yeah, Troy was... I don't know. I was young. I couldn't get into robots like that. Sorry.
Well, she wasn't a robot. She was still, because the Borgs resistance is futile. They would just take over the bodies. They were like body snatchers. So they were, they would put machinery, but they were all humanoids, but they were slowly converting into cyborgs.
Cyborgs, yeah. Man, yeah. I loved it. I was a baby though. I used to watch as a kid. I used to watch shit that no kid my age should be watching. Yeah. I was like 8 years old watching that, watching Frasier. I was like, I don't understand what the fuck is going on.
Do you remember the show The Nanny?
Yeah,
I remember watching that and being like,
hell yeah,
that was one of my crushes. The Nanny.
The Nanny, hell yeah, Nanny was dope. Yeah. Sister Kate, all those shows. Yeah, I used to watch that shit. Speaking of Netflix.
Oh yeah,
I was able to. I binged it in like 3 days.
Yeah.
Avatar, The Last Airbender. So I'm gonna try to do this spoiler free. You know, out of 10, I give it an 8.
Okay.
Strong 8.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good. It was, if you're used to the animated series, then it's definitely a callback. Like you'll enjoy it from an informational and a fact standpoint. It's pretty consistent across the board. If I had to like the episodes run about an hour.
Okay.
And I think if I had to give it negative marks anywhere, it would be character building with some of the, like they do great character building with Aang and that, you know, that whole the Airbender and that kind of that lineage and everything and the history of that. But beyond that character, they don't do great with character building. But it just gives you an opportunity to add on to it with more seasons. So we'll see if that actually happens. But evidently got great reviews across the board. People like it. So I dug it. I think it's a good watch.
Yeah.
If you're into it. If you're into anime and you're into the fact that they're doing so much live action anime stuff now, then you'll dig it.
Yeah. That's cool. It's good to know. Even this YouTuber, just like the title of his episode was Last Airbender, everything that's wrong with it, but nothing was wrong with it, or something like that.
Yeah,
Even when people just want to like just go down, just bash it.
Yeah,
he couldn't. So that was cool.
Yeah, and a time where shit is so easy to bash. Everything is easy to bash. But
do you know if they did just the live action stuff? I'd be curious to see if they can do. Did they do a Dragon Ball Z live action?
They are doing one.
They are doing one.
They are doing one. They have some teaser posters out on Netflix. Put some teasers out of. I think they're going to do the Android saga, which is one of the most popular sagas in Dragon Ball. So, it's a Z saga, and it's basically is a bunch of androids. They're gonna come and try to take over the world, you know.
Yeah. But like Trunks in there? Does this predate Trunks? I think this predates Trunks. Okay. Yeah, this is before. Wait, Trunks might be this predates Trunks. Okay. Yeah. So, or you know, their knowledge of Trunks. Yeah. So, because I got into Dragon Ball Z when it was like Piccolo. Piccolo was the main villain.
That was real early.
Yeah,
that was real early on. But that predates. That's Dragon Ball. That's not even Dragon Ball Z yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dragon Ball is. Wait, no, I take that back. Yes, so he was the first villain in Dragon Ball Z, or the main villain in Dragon Ball Z, and then but that was very short lived, and they started to And then it was what? Then it was Vegeta. Vegeta was the main. Vegeta was the main antagonist, and then it goes on to the android stuff once Vegeta gets stuck on. So, but I'm looking forward to that. That's probably the most. I'm looking forward to that. They're doing a Naruto, so that's going to be cool. But I'm looking forward to Dragon Ball more so than anything that they're going to put out. That was like growing up. It was Ronin Warriors. I don't know if anyone remembers Ronin Warriors, but. That and Dragon Ball Z were my go-tos, man. And loved it all. So
cool.
Let's hope for it.
Cool, man. I did want to touch base on one thing: the Professor X and Magneto.
Oh man!
So
just before he gets started, I just want you to know he came and turned my world upside down with this bullshit. But because like I went and looked through it and vetted it, and it seems to be accurate.
Yeah, there's like X-Men 97. We did make mention of because he made a short out of it, and I didn't know anything about it. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, and then I started actually researching. This one guy did a great video on it about MLK and Malcolm X. And Malcolm X seems to get I don't want to say a bad rap, but like he wasn't as extreme. Like he wasn't this militant guy. He had a very clear idea of what he wanted.
Oh, sure.
What he thought it would be.
100%.
And some of the stuff I was listening to, he was saying, I was like, wow, that's actually pretty profound and it makes a lot of sense. But even though X-Men 97 was all about like all these social issues, the origin story of Professor X and Magneto isn't necessarily based on them. This one guy said that and I have it printed here, it was about two Jewish leaders, which I would make sense because he referenced the actual issues that they were in. And he said, and so the guy said, he said, as a white person, how could I relate to these two characters? He's like, what I related these characters to, because he has a Jewish background, was to these two Jewish leaders.
Okay.
So that I thought was interesting. So I don't know if that's a myth or not, but people connect with these characters, and so it would make sense why they would, but
100%. Like and that would make sense because in the books we all know that Magneto is Jewish,
right?
And he was in the concentration camps and all that. So I can see how that would, and that in the movie, in I believe it was X-Men First Class, they do a flashback to where Magneto or Eric is being pulled away from and that's when his powers manifest. And
I think that scene was pulled from that issue.
Right. Yeah. And it could be like, a callback to that issue and where the origin and the source of these characters may come from. So I could definitely see it. But I feel like also that, we all know if you're a comic book fan, that X-Men was probably the most socially conscious group faction in comic books. So I think that you can draw parallels. Any people who have been oppressed, who's been, just from a systematic racism point or partiality point, I think if you come from any of those people, you can relate in some way, shape, or form to what, the X-Men are, so. That's cool.
So I didn't mean to burst your bubble on that.
He couldn't wait.
No, it wasn't totally that. But I was like, I feel like I was like, how naive am I to because that's like a big thing. And so I thought it was important that I look into that and oh, this is amazing. And then all these other videos started popping up. I'm like, whoa. So it's. But either way, it's still a good thing that people. Oh yeah,
100%. Yeah, and we want to be more informed. We don't want to be up here because, like you said earlier, the fandom we have an understanding that is the origin, even if true or not. We have an understanding that is the origin of where these characters come from. But we don't want to be up here just spewing false facts either. It's good. Yeah. Hell yeah, do your research. Yeah, that's what's wrong with the world today. People just throw shit out there with no, vetting 100%. Or no evidence.
Yeah, there's a couple YouTubers that I follow now that and I think you follow them too. The WDW Pro, where these guys do. It's all based on Disney, so they do investigative reporting on all the Disney stuff. And that's a thing. Can you imagine that? That's how big Disney is.
That's how big Disney is, dude. You can make thousands and thousands of dollars a month just reporting on the shit that Disney's doing or not doing.
Right.
For that matter. Yeah.
But kind of to wind it down, one thing I'm looking forward to listening to is an episode just got released on Joe Rogan, Cat Williams. Cat Williams.
Yeah. Now, if you've been keeping up with the Cat Williams stuff, you know that he actually said some very negative things about Joe Rogan and his ability to put on his friends. And he said that a lot of his friends, the comedians that he put on, aren't very talented and haven't done the work to get to where they are right now. So I'll be interested to know. Actually, I'm gonna listen to it when we leave here and see, because Cat is crazy, man.
Yep.
But look what happened though. He went on the Shay Club, whatever, that show, and just went off. And now look he has a tour right now.
Oh,
yeah, he's touring right now. He has all these, he's on all these podcasts and shows and doing all these interviews. It's look where that manifested. So.
Yeah. Be curious to know. I think it's and I think Joe Rogan now is not only found on Spotify, I think is on Apple Podcasts now as well.
Is he really? Yeah, so what happened with that? I thought he had an exclusivity deal with Spotify.
I don't know. I just heard it somewhere. I think I saw it on, I don't know if it was on Instagram or whatever, but Joe Rogan said it was him actually saying you can find me now on Apple Podcasts.
Really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to Apple buy Spotify.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Apple did drop the just in side note news, Apple is no longer coming out with their own car. They were supposed to come out with their own.
Really?
Yeah.
I might want that shit.
Well,
Elon, listen. Oh, speaking of which, the new Tesla Roadster.
Oh,
0 to 60 in 1 second.
God.
In 1 second.
What does that even feel like?
Dude, and it looks sick. You look it up when we get off air. It looks sick, dude.
Wow.
It's very sleek. It's like the Batmobile.
Wow.
Without the spoilers and shit.
No.
But it's a 0 to 60 in 1 second. An electric car, dude.
Dude, you get thrown. That's like going back to that Gran Turismo thing. Do you think the average person can handle that? I don't know.
I have fun finding out.
Yeah.
Fun finding out, dude. They so I found out the other day that they did this for 1 year. They only made 1,500 of these. It's the Challenger stock SRT. It's basically like a Dodge Demon, but it has no badges on it, and it has like a dual hood scoop. That's the only way that you would tell the difference between this and a Challenger Demon.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, they're like $130,000 if you can find one.
Yeah.
Because again, they only made 1,500 of those. But I'm gonna try to hunt one down, even if I just get to just review it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna try to hunt one down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Cool.
Bare minimum, we'll do the Demon.
Yeah.
I want to do a Mopar so bad. So
we have a student taking lessons now. He's a oh man, I wish I could get some photos of his cars. He rebuilds cars, and he's got and he's way out in North Carolina somewhere, and he drives in here, but he showed me some photos. He drag races.
Really?
Dude.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
Let me just sit in the passenger seat. I'm sure I know there's no passenger seat, but
shit. How far in Carolina? I'd take a ride down there. It was 45 minutes. That shit.
Yeah.
Let us come on there and geek out.
Yeah. That'd be
awesome,
cool.
Y'all.
Cool.
Hell yeah. Thanks for tuning in for another edition of the Alpha Geek Podcast. Remember, like, subscribe, tell your friends, share it with your friends on your social media. Just play in the background. Viewership, get it up.
Yeah.
Anything to take us out, Taraz?
No, looking forward to the Cat Williams episode. So I'm sure next week we'll be talking a little bit about that.
Well, you can definitely find them on Taraz Denisenko on Instagram.
Yep.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it. All right. Yeah. And I'm Antoine the Juggernaut on Instagram. It's the same thing on TikTok and Facebook.
Yeah.
People still Facebook?
I do.
Anybody under the age of 88 is still Facebook. See y'all later, man. Peace.
Peace.